still support us. Looks like we're all here. I would love to introduce you to the artists we selected for Jamaica Flux 2024. Now, these artists put in a lot of work in a very short time, like around a month time, just to get this all together. All right. We have 2 photographers, we have an illustrator, we have a painter, muralist, we have a sculptor, and we also have, I think another painter. Right? There's a reason I'm standing here, because I would love to introduce you to the first artist who made this collage of photography, really centered on the Coliseum, right here in Jamaica. These artists that really tell the stories of Jamaica really help to cement the history of this culture, really help to put a unique historical reference on our community, right? It's up to us to tell our stories, and the artists are usually the first storytellers, right? They really reflect their community, they tell their version, and their version sometimes is very close to other members of the society because they experience the same thing, right? Whether it's catching a bus at a certain time, whether it's walking down on 65th Street, whether you're going into the Coliseum to get something to eat or to buy jewelry for an event coming up. So I would love to introduce you to Ryan Baskin, who will also be the star of the fashion show. Ryan, you want to come up?
Hi everyone, thank you guys for coming out. My piece is, like Sherman said, a little personal. It's called An Ode to the Block. In high school, I went to a Catholic all-girls high school, but we would have to take the bus from Jamaica Avenue to College Point. And it was an everyday thing, basically. We were in school, of course. But we noticed changes on Jamaica Avenue in general very, very early. And I remember specifically the first peak of gentrification was the Starbucks across the street from the movie theaters. And I said to myself, here we go. Like, it's coming. And it took a few years to get to what we have now. But specifically with 165th Street, the 165th Street Mall, or as everyone knows it to be, the Collie Block, I came across a TikTok and it was desolate there. And everyone was just like, well, what's happening to the Ave? Is the Ave closing? Is the Coliseum Mall closing? Kind of what's the story behind all the closures? If you were to walk up there today, the right side, for the most part, is completely closed, while the other side is open. But I really questioned, like, when did this happen? And it's been happening for a few years now. I want to say as early as 2015, 2016, just rebranding the Ave in general. Now it's called Downtown Jamaica. We never called it Downtown Jamaica. We just called it the Ave. And you knew where you were, you knew what you were there for, what you had to get. But for me, even as a child, it was back to school shopping. It was summer clothes. Getting my first pair of the plated earrings, the plated necklace, the Chinese slippers. I had the digital name belt that I got off the Collie Block. All of that is gone. There is no, we take trips to the Ave anymore, even if it's just to hang out. So this piece just encapsulates the life that came off the Collie Block, walking down the street with your friends. I remember having to purposely, we would do this on purpose, take the long way home just so we could walk through the Collie Block, just to walk to the Ave and go down to catch the 110 bus. But just the fashion itself that came off the Ave as well. When doing some research and just talking to different people, talking to family friends and just anyone who kind of had memories towards the Collie Block, especially in the 80s and the 90s, it was a place where you would just stand on the block. Like, your friends would come meet you, you would just chop it up, keep it moving. No one wanted to look like the other person, so they would customize their own outfits. One particular story that I was told was when the double basketball shorts were popular, and you have like the black on the bottom or the top and the red or a different color, and how some designers would stake out on the Ave and kind of steal those designs, particularly models, when they came out with the shorts that were sewn together with the double shorts. And it's just really a testament to how we push what is popular today. Our culture is essentially everyone's culture. We are the beginning. And as well as just the effective business owners also. Some of these business owners have been there for over 20 years, starting paying out rent about $2,000. Now they're paying close to 10 grand. One particular business owner in the Coliseum Mall, he's at the corner of the Collie Block, right across from JJ's Fish Market where it used to be. He currently pays over $15,000 in rent. And he took it over from his dad, who came over from Bangladesh in 1965. So there's just a loss of decades happening on the Collie Block, and we don't really know what the future is. The proposed plan for the right side of the Collie Block is apartments and a hotel, which completely changes the landscape of the area, especially down that far on Jamaica Avenue. So as you can see, just some of these quotes are just from articles that have been published since then, since the beginning of this transformation, from changing it to downtown Jamaica, how much it sold for, which is $51 million, that right side. And there are two different landlords for those sides of the Collie Block, so which is why one has chose to sit, one has chose to keep it moving. So I hope you enjoyed this work, and this QR code at the top leads to more information, some sound from the business owners, also leads to a visual, more images, as well as just kind of a short blurb about my experience and my interaction with the Coliseum. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Wait. Tell the good folks what you have planned for this fashion show.
Yeah, so I really wanted to go back, and I feel like the 80s was like the beginning of our movement into like what Jamaica Avenue started to become. So the fashion show really covers fashion from everyday people that you would see on the Ave, stuff that you could buy from the Ave, from the 80s to present day. So we have 5 different categories, 2 models in each category, so you can kind of get a feel of what you would wear, maybe it'll throw you back a little bit to your own closet back then. But the fashion show will cover fashion from the Coliseum block from the 80s to now.
Amazing. Give it up for Ryan. And also a quick shout out to Darryl Pringle, who was a huge help in getting.
Can I do one if you don't mind?
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Darryl. Sharon put me in contact with Darryl. He was like, well, I know someone who works at this boutique in the Coliseum Mall. Maybe you can talk to him, see if he can loan you some stuff for the show. Fast forward, talk to Darryl, meet Darryl, and the owner of the boutique that he works at said no. But he pulled out his phone. I was sitting there for maybe almost 2 hours in the shop.
Yes.
He was calling, having conversations with people, just trying to see who could help. Kid Capri's sister, Jackie Love, she was supposed to be here, but she's not feeling well. She was a big help. Geechee Dan, who just had the cassette tape. Geechee Dan, very, very, very grateful. Thank you so much. But just Darryl, also you. It's just crazy how much community is helpful, especially our elders, and even just from, this is the first time I ever met Darryl in my life. So,
it's my job.
Right, thank you. Just for him to come on and help, calling him every week, at least once a week, trying to figure out, like, can someone loan something, can someone not? But just in general, even giving me the history of Hollis, Queens, which is where I'm from, and just how there's so many of us in Hollis who have contributed to the culture and completely go unnoticed. Queens in general as a whole. So thank you so much, Darryl.
I appreciate you.
Very, very, very grateful.
Thank you, Cheryl.
That's love. That's community love. That's why we do this, right? To link the community together, to have folks in touch with one another, to help each other, and to help us realize our goals. And that was my goal in being a curator, to link everyone up together. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have a beautiful show with the plan, so we're looking forward to it. The next artist that we have, this gentleman comes out of Jackson Heights, Queens. And his vision is really unique. His vision is about a utopia of seeing, of bringing our environments out of this very man-made, overpopulated brick version of the reality and bringing it back to the essence of nature. I want to introduce Noah. I'm sorry, to
You got it. No.
Noah. Okay.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to see you all here. I prepared a short statement. But it's very easy to see everything that's wrong with the world. But envisioning the solutions to those problems is a lot harder. In this series of paintings, I've envisioned changes made to 4 different sites in Jamaica. I've reimagined car-centered spaces, parking lots and roads, and filled them with water, plants, and trees. These changes are inspired by my belief in more sustainable and livable cities. In particular, I was interested in exploring waterways as nature's highways. Rivers have acted as a foundation for New York's growth and have served to feed and move the people on this land for thousands of years. These artworks have been reproduced and they're free to take as postcards. They will be available here, outside, in the Sculpture Garden, in the Queens Public Library on Merritt Boulevard, and the King Manor Museum. In addition, these artworks will be on display in Link NYC kiosks around Jamaica. The changes I've envisioned in my paintings are not realistic. I don't expect rivers and lakes to pop up around Jamaica. But I do hope that these paintings allow you to see what's possible. And I hope, especially, that the series inspires you all to envision the changes you want to see in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. You know, as you were talking, Noah, I was thinking about when COVID first hit and everyone was indoors and they were saying, oh, the birds are back, the waters are getting cleaner, the fish are coming back into the Hudson, which is not going to happen.
I'm just a videographer.
But this feels like that, right? Like if there's something that happens to tame us, to tame our yearning to control everything, this is what I would envision. Please take a postcard when you leave so that you have a memento of this event. Next up is a photographer, very gifted photographer by the name of Sharon Miller. Now Sharon couldn't be with us today. She contacted, she has an illness. And she asked me to say a few words. This is her body of work on this wall. It captures our youth in particularly successful roles in the brightest light. I'm going to read what Sharon has to say. I would first like to thank everyone present today for coming to this event and supporting us artists and our work. I'd also like to apologize for my physical absence due to illness. Thank you to JCal and its staff, especially Zach and Shirley, for the opportunity to present my work at this year's Jamaica Flux Work Spaces and Windows. I am truly honored to be a part of such an inspirational event. I would also like to thank all of the creative youth who volunteered to be a part of this ongoing photo project, as well as all the people who helped me bring this project to the community, including my beauty team, photo assistants, as well as organizations such as New York Foundation for the Arts, Queens Arts Fund, Queens Council on the Arts, Sony Cameras, and Photoville. The Creative Ambassadors Project, this, is an ambitious photo series that combines my passion of photography, social causes, and creative storytelling. With my project, I seek to elevate the unheard voices of underserved New York City creative youth, ages 16 to 24, by presenting them in a powerful photographic editorial style portraits based on their creative career aspirations. Now that's amazing. Showcasing the humanity of overlooked youth through my photography is not only important for the individuals and communities involved, but also profoundly transformative for me as a photographer. Drawing from my own past experiences as a young creative who overcame barriers, this project allowed me to connect on a personal level with the subjects. Capturing their passion and resilience reminds me of my own path of overcoming obstacles, and inspires me to give voice and visibility to those who have been ignored. It is also my way of advocating for equal access and representation in the arts. By challenging stereotypes and fostering empathy, I want to inspire positive change within the creative industries and society at large, as well as connect these youth to people within the industries they are pursuing. Very important. Please take the time to view my work and hold space for creative inspiration and conversation. Thank you. Now, Sharon told me that one of her youth would be here to say a few words, and here she is, Miss Linda. Yes?
Yeah.
Please come on up, Linda.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. My name is Linda. That's my Creative Ambassadors project that I'm extremely proud of. And I'd like to talk about my experience with because it was an experience with being a creative ambassador. So my name is Linda. I'm a photographer. I do a lot of digital art. And it's actually started because I'm part of Miss Sharon's Neon Arts program for the last 2 years. So she offered me the Creative Ambassadors program. She said she thinks I'd be a perfect fit. So I said, of course. They sent me a Google form and I filled all kinds of questions about what I love about my art, what got me inspired, what's my personal day-to-day like, how I love to most express myself. And it was really interesting for me because I've never answered these questions before. I've never put them down on pen and paper. And I'm sure as anybody in here who's a creative knows, the stuff that lives in my head is never always a cohesive thought. And Miss Sharon took those crazy thoughts that I had and turned it into an amazing photo shoot idea. So my idea was the art tech maven because I love that digital art. I love transforming my art into something that you can see digitally. I love neon lights. I love art, everything that sparkles and glitters. And she also took in my personal style. Actually, if you can see my photo, the jacket I'm wearing and the sunglasses are from my own collection. They're my own clothes. Nothing was purchased or bought. It was authentically me. And that's something I really appreciate as well. So the kind of idea was if Aaliyah was in Cybertech, because the Aaliyah is my style, and she says I always remind her of it. And I love Tokyo, neon lights, all those kinds of things. And that's how we came apart with the idea for my actual photo shoot. So it was also very creative as well. We worked in a very short amount of time, but we used projectors, neon lights, different kinds of apertures. As a photographer myself, I took so much inspiration from actually the creativity she was able to bring to us. All of the models, but specifically me in terms of teaching me as she was photographing me. So this wasn't only an experience for me to showcase my art, it was also something for me to learn from as well. So that was my experience. It was an amazing one. I thank Miss Sharon so much. I'm so sorry she couldn't be here, but I thank her so much for what she was able to bring to the table and how she inspires not only me, but any other young creative in Queens to really do their best to showcase their authentic selves and also to be a creative ambassador. Thank you.
Linda, that was terrific. It's really important for you to say these words because a lot of our youth don't really have an opportunity to speak or showcase their talents, and I love that Miss Sharon was able to understand her role in finding those stories to tell. And the youth really are the future, right? We really need to support them. We need to get them as close to their goals as possible, and like Ms. Sharon said, align them with individuals that can help them on their journey, all right? So thank you again, Linda, and Sharon is a powerhouse. Next up, we're going to move over to our left. And what we have here is a sculpture and a painting by an individual, an artist who really fosters community, who really want to showcase how gardens, plants, these public spaces can bring communities together and foster new friendships. I'd love to introduce you to Olivia.
Thank you. Thank all of you so much for being here today and allowing me to share this piece of art. And J Flux, thank you so much for this program and offering this to young youth, especially in Queens. Like you were saying before, I feel like youth don't have much of a voice, especially when it comes to being creative. And we don't always have support in pursuing that creative passion, that fire that we have inside of us. So I am from South Jamaica, born and raised. My family came here in the 60s from Jamaica, first to Brooklyn, and then we settled in Jamaica, Queens. And we were planted here. And we had a choice. You either grow or you swim. And my family, we chose to swim. And that is a driving factor behind the artist that I am today. And these pieces, a lot of my artwork now encompasses plants. During the pandemic is when I decided to become a professional artist. That was the first time I picked up a paintbrush. I used to paint when I was younger. Went into digital art, so I'm also a graphic designer. And at the start of the pandemic, I decided to start painting as a form of self-help, form of therapy. And it kind of blossomed into something that I could have never imagined. And I collected plants, like most people. I grew up in a house full of plants, raised by all Jamaicans. Plants were everywhere growing up. When I got older, I continued that. And I learned from my plants that plants are the only things that you can pour into that will pour back into you at the same capacity. Whether it's a house plant or a vegetable, you water it, it will feed you. It will feed you food, or it will feed you air. Snake plants filter the air. So I tie that into all of my pieces. This first piece here on the wall is called Inner Peace, and that's what I felt when I created it. It also encompasses flowers, forces you to bloom. Now this sculpture here, my very first sculpture, might I add. Thank you. It's called Grow Where You Are Planted. An ode to my family coming here in the 60s, as well as my grandfather who was a farmer in Jamaica. We were forced to grow in Jamaica, Queens, where we were planted. And I also choose to grow in Jamaica, Queens, where I was planted. To be a better artist. And to have my family push me to lengths that I wouldn't have imagined before. And I want this body of work to encourage all of you to literally grow where you were planted. Where you start is never where you finish. Amen. Thank you, guys.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
When we print this catalog, we're going to print a catalog. You will find everything here, including this sculpture. And when you look back on Olivia's career, you'll see that the first sculpture was in that catalog.
Nice.
Next up, we would like to introduce you to an artist who has his paintings along the gates in front of JPOC, celebrating Bangladeshi culture and the rickshaw. So I would love to introduce you to Tarek. Tarek, are you here? Yes, Tarek. We're gonna meet you now. Takes a second. Amazing. So here we are. We have this painting by Tarek. Tarek, please tell us more about yourself and this beautiful piece of work on the wall.
Hello, my name is Tariq Zulfikar. I'm a Bangladeshi artist. Now I am living over here almost 5 years, not too much. In this project, I mainly work on the rickshaw painting. What is rickshaw painting? Actually, rickshaw is a slow-moving three-wheeler vehicle. It's moving all over the city, and the rickshaw, every part of the rickshaw is painted. It's painted with some rural patterns, some folk, some historical, or sometimes the cinema movie poster they paint on the rickshaw too. So actually I tribute that because I'm not a rickshaw painter, but I try to show that painting over the fence outside. And why I do it in the outside, think about the outside, because I think the rickshaw is more close to the people by the side of the road, that's why. And this is actually another piece. Nowadays, I actually paint like this type of painting. This painting name is Imagination and Realization of Nirvana. Nirvana is a concept. In our side, the Asian side, the Hinduism, the Otherism, the rebirth concept. So it's a endless path. It's like that, and that's why. And it's also like my ancestor, they did their type of work. When I think about them, so. I don't know why I see some emails like that, or imagination emails like that. That's why I do this type of painting. And this painting is also connected with my folk lines, because the folk paintings are very minimal, and I try to do some minimal lines over here. And I hope this show is beautiful because I hear about the other artists' speech. They are really powerful, and I hope everybody enjoys this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tarek. Now, for those of us who are spiritual, I'm sure you recognize certain symbols in this painting. And I feel like Tarek is just giving you the surface level of how deep his intentions are with this painting. It's in the tree of life, some of the mathematical geometry that symbolizes life and infinity and such. But very powerful painting. I can probably sit here and analyze it for a few hours in a Zen state. So thank you, Tarek. Next up, I want you to be careful. On the floor, we have a sculpture created by the talent that created the large show-stopping piece outside. The sneaker made out of car parts. I would love to introduce you to Alex. Alex, tell us more about your work.
Hi, how are you? My name is Alexander Razin. First of all, I'd like to tell you I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited about the site, about the work, about the people who work on the project. And as an artist for the last 15 years, I'm focused on the site-specific installations. I created more than 40 sites. The sneaker, the environmental sculpture of the sneaker on the wall represent a large-scale transformer and symbolize a shelter. I introduce the interaction between the individuals and environment. I use the crushed plastic bumpers to transform it to the form of art. So it's a base idea of the installation of on the wall. And also the purpose of environmental sculpture, to create some dialogue to the viewers, to bring the viewers inside, not just physically, mentally, inside of the installation. So on the process of the installation on site, I got a lot of comments. I see it was, my art was so interactive. And so I'm just happy to be here and to enjoy the site, enjoy the crowd, enjoy everything. And thank you, Sharon, for help. Thank you.
Now, Alex is my brother, my sculpting brother. He was here 7:30 Sunday to install.
Wow.
I was here 7:30 Sunday to help him install, because I understand what that process is. You rent a U-Haul truck the day before, you pack the U-Haul truck, you got everything ordered, you got everything organized and selected, and then you have a plan to come in and install in 2 hours.
Wow.
Alex was here for 3 days.
Wow.
Because that's what it takes. Sculptors go through a lot. We go through this agonizing pain of having to get it perfect and right. And you can see from outside, the sculpture, since I've been here, I've witnessed the kids run up to the sculpture, forcing their parents to take a picture of them next to the sculpture. And I believe Alex's work brings eyes into this sculpture garden. Tarek's work on the fence brings eyes into the sculpture garden. It's like you see Tarek's work, then you see Alex's work, you're like, oh my God. And you start to look around and see other works. So this is what large scale sculpture can do, right? It arrests you, it takes you off your path, it stops you in your path. And we're very pleased and happy to have Alex, and I made sure he was here because I needed a sculptor in this program to create a sculpture garden, right? He's the only sculptor beside myself, and we're happy to have all the other artists create works that are three-dimensional as well, or presented in a three-dimensional form. So thank you, Alex.
The connection between the on the wall sculpture and that piece is art. So it's the innocent shelter. What? Innocent shelter. The art.
Okay.
Art and the piece of the outside symbolizes shelter. Shelter. Yeah. There is art. The art. The shelter.
Amazing. Before we go upstairs, I did notice that there's a piece of artwork that somehow found its place into this show. So maybe we should talk about it. I'm going to give the artist who created this, which looks like an old school cassette tape. I don't know anything about that. I'm from the age of the download. So I'm a visual guy. This must be Geechee Dance. Geechee Dance. Give us a minute to talk about this. Made in Queens.
Sharon, thank you, brother. How y'all doing?
Awesome.
Queens.
Get the money.
Queens. So what we do out here in Queens? All right. This cassette tape, as I was told, is the largest wooden cassette tape in the world. And it was given to me as a gift because the brother, his name is Richard Mann. He came and approached me, said, I love your passion with collecting the tapes that you do. And he decided that he was going to give this to me. So he gifted me this. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. He gifted it to me. And I was like, brother, how am I going to get this? Because he sent me a picture of it. And he brought it from New Jersey in an Uber to me in the Bronx. Wow. And gifted it to me. And he said, treat this as one of your cassette tapes, part of your collection. So this is the largest wooden cassette tape in the world. Wow. So I brought this out here for the sister for her event. She called me up and reached out to me and she said, please bring it out. So I brought it out. And this is just one item of my collection. I have boombox radios, I have Lee jeans, BVD shirts, cassette tapes. I have the largest cassette audio of hip hop from 1975 to present day. I have over 1,100 tapes that I've converted over the years to CD and MP3. So we're talking about new sounds in 1975, 1976, early Funky Four, the original Funky Four from 1978, Grand Wizard Theodore, L Brothers. I got block parties from out here in Queens, LL, Vinyl Twins. I got tapes from Devon, from Infinity Machine, that's right here, DJ Devon from the Infinity Machine. I got a tape from him. And I got other tapes from Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Grandmaster Flowers. Got tapes from Cold Crush, Fearless 4, you name it, I got tapes. So check my show out on LL Cool J Rock the Bells Radio on Sirius XM, channel 43. I come on Tuesday night at midnight. The show is called Planet of the Tapes. It's myself and Diamond the Artist. So check my show out. I re-air on Saturday morning at 5 in the morning, Sunday morning at 8 in the morning, and Sunday night at 11 p.m. all Eastern Time hours. And this week, right now, is the Canadian hip hop tribute. That's it's highlighting all the artists from Canada. And so, as you know, as I go on further, moving forward with the shows, we got a Harlem hip hop tribute next month. I got a hip hop tribute to hip hop's first party in 1973. Wow. And I'm gonna have Kool Herc and Cindy on the phone for the first time talking about that first hip hop party in the Bronx on Cedric Avenue. So please listen to the show, check out, I drop a lot of historical hip hop 101 and gems. So check us out, all right? And I appreciate the love, thank you. Ralph McDaniels, my brother, thank you. Sharon, thank you.
Give it up for Geechee Dan. Thank you, Geechee, for bringing this tape out. Geechee, how far did you bring this tape from? Geechee Dan, how far you brought the tape? The tape came from New Jersey to the Bronx.
And then I'm kind of from the Bronx right here.
From the Bronx to here.
Wow.
Yeah. In an Uber, a Lyft? In an Uber?
Yeah.
Yeah, an Uber. Okay.
Wow.
Here we go. So this concludes the exhibition on the inside here of this this gallery space for Jamaica Flux artists. Give it up for all the artists that have their work displayed. They put a lot of time, a lot of effort. Some even work overnight, no sleep, just to get this done. We really appreciate their efforts, truly. It's really about community. So now, let's go upstairs. We have 2 events left to present to you. We have a special statue unveiling, and then we have a fashion show to conclude.